October 2024 will be remembered by moviegoers as the time where two clown movies were released at the box office around the same time period. One clown movie will be remembered as one of the worst movie sequels of all time, while the other clown movie will go down as one of the most violent, most brutal sequels in recent memory. Hello everyone, it's already October and we are a couple of months away before the year ends, so I'm going to make a horror movie review. I'm going to be reviewing the Terrifier movies as a whole. So for those of you who haven't seen Terrifier or any of the movies, this is a spoiler alert, so don't watch this video if you don't want to get spoiled. Let's start off with the original Terrifier movie, Damien Leone's 2016 Terrifier.
Are you okay?
I think we should get our food to go.
At a time when this movie came out, there was a lot of paranormal movies. I remember there was a lot of Paranormal Activity sequels, a lot of the Conjuring movies, The Nun, Annabelle. A lot of those movies were coming out at the time, if I remember correctly, and there was no slashers. The slasher genre during that period was gone. It was nearly gone, and Terrifier was a great film. Although it was obviously a direct video movie, it was a very low budget $50,000 movie. But Terrifier did build a small audience, a very small following. One of the best things about Terrifier is the killer. Art the Clown is a phenomenal villain, being a cross between Freddy Krueger and the Joker. His physical appearance is genius. He's a clown and he's also a mime. And he doesn't speak, and that's great because that makes him look less human. And we can't really sympathize with him since he's the villain. What makes him scarier, obviously, is the fear of clowns, which is a very, very common fear. When it comes to weapons, Art uses a lot of types of weapons. Anything from knives to scissors, hammers, and even guns. He uses guns usually as a last resort. And as for the story, well, the main character Tara, along with her friend Dawn, become targets of Art. Dawn gets up getting sliced in half, and Tara, later on in the movie, dies. I was quite shocked that they did a little twist where they killed off the main character. And this is nothing new. Obviously, Scream did that with the original movie where they killed off Casey Becker, so I do appreciate that little twist with they killing off Tara. Tara's sister, Victoria, becomes the new target of Art later on in the movie. At the very climax, at the very end of the movie, Victoria survives, but she ends up getting her face eaten off by Art, revealing that she is the survivor at the beginning of the movie. Art obviously is overwhelmed by the police, so Art pulls out a gun out of nowhere and kills himself. At the very end of the movie, before the credits, Art comes back to life and he kills the coroner off screen.
Speaking of surprises, kids, we have a very special guest with us today. All the way from Miles County, Art the Clown.
Terrifier 2 was released on October 6, 2022. It was the first movie to be released in theaters, unlike the original film, which was a direct-to-video. It was made on a $250,000 budget, and it grossed $15 million at the box office. Terrifier 2 was a massive improvement from the original film. This movie is 2 hours and 18 minutes long, unlike the original, which was 84 minutes long. The most noticeable thing about this movie was his aesthetics, his appearance. The first movie was very dark, very gritty, very low budget looking, and this movie was more polished, was cleaner, and it just looked better. The kills in this movie continue to be as brutal as the first film. The first film is mainly remembered for the hacksaw kill, and this movie does feature a few kills that rival it. The alley kill was very sadistic, very brutal, very slow, takes about 3 minutes, and I honestly think that it was very overkill, to be honest. My favorite part about this movie was the dream sequence. The dream sequence was very funny, it was hilarious, everybody acting ridiculous, everyone looking ridiculous. It was very comedic. I enjoyed the dream sequence, my favorite part of the movie. It was very cool to see Art actually pull out a Tommy gun. Very, very cool. And that song, that Clown Cafe song, was really catchy. I really enjoyed it. The movie starts off where the original film left off, where Art is resurrected and he kills off the coroner. Then there is a 1 year time jump where we are introduced to our character, Sienna, her brother Jonathan, her classmates, her mom. The story focuses on our main character, Sienna, who is actually the main protagonist in this film, and she is the one who is supposedly the one destined to defeat Art. Then once she encounters Art at the Halloween costume, and we see the whole traditional thing that we saw in the first film, where Art gets kicked out of the business establishment, whatever, Art starts off his killing spree. Art supposedly kills off Sienna in the movie, and out of nowhere, Sienna resurrects and comes back to life, goes full Super Saiyan, and she defeats Art by decapitating him. And the most shocking thing about this movie was also its post-credits. The post-credits, we see Chris Jericho, part-time wrestler, part-time rock star, and also, apparently, part-time security guard at your wannabe Arkham Asylum. It's here at this facility where we actually see Victoria, the disfigured victim from the first film. She is there and she gives birth to Art. Terrifier 3 was released on October 11th, 2024, and during the making of this video, it is currently in theaters and it managed to make over $45 million at the box office, despite being made with only $2 million. It even managed to beat Joker, and in the second week became the #1 movie in the world. The most noticeable thing about this movie has to be the presentation. The budget, the quality, the colors, everything is big. The first two movies felt like student, felt like indie horror movies, and now this movie, even the trailer, feels like a Blumhouse type of movie. I personally went to the movie theaters on October 11th and I saw this movie, and I will tell you, the legends are true, the rumors are true. This movie is very gory, very, very bloody. Now let's talk about the story. The story follows directly after the second movie, where Art is resurrected through Victoria, and she's also possessed by the little girl. They go and kill several people, they escape the asylum, they find an abandoned house, and they go dormant. Then a 5-year time jump happens, and we see T2's protagonist, Sienna, who is leaving the psych ward. She goes to visit her aunt, uncle, and cousin for the holidays. Sienna struggles with PTSD and survivor guilds. Eventually, Art and Victoria are awakened from their slumber and they go on a new killing spree. Art goes on to kill a guy in a Santa Claus outfit. He takes his clothes and he even rips off his beard. Art even breaks into a family's home, kills them, and even steals their toys. He pretends to be Santa Claus, even causing an explosion at a mall. He even shoves a chainsaw up a guy's ass when he goes to Jonathan's college, which, by the way, the chainsaw kill has to be my favorite kill in this movie. Sienna and Jonathan realize that Art is alive, so they devise a plan, and later on during the climax of the movie, Art and Victoria find Sienna and they kill the aunt and uncle, and they even tie up Sienna. Victoria attempts to possess Sienna's body, but she is unable to, so she attempts to psychologically break Sienna mentally. They kill off the aunt in a very brutal fashion, and they even revealed that they killed off Jonathan off screen. They even threatened to kill Sienna's little cousin Gabby. So Sienna tricks Art and Victoria into giving her Christmas present to unwrap in front of her cousin as a final whatever. She pulls out the sword that she used to kill Art in the second movie, and she uses it against Victoria, stabbing her and finishing her off by decapitating her. Art and Sienna go and they fight. Art using his chainsaw and Sienna using the sword. They fight. Sienna manages to stab Art, weakening him, but not before the body of Victoria begins to melt, and it opens up a portal to hell, where Gabby falls inside the portal. Sienna tries to save her, she couldn't, so Gabby falls along with the sword. They disappear. So now Gabby is lost, and Sienna promises to find Gabby. During this entire thing, Art manages to escape, and he goes and flees on a bus. Then at the very end of the movie, we see an Easter egg, a reference to the first story in the All Hallows Eve movie, where we see a woman in the bus reading a book with the title The Ninth Circle, a reference to the first mini-story in All Hallows Eve, potentially hinting what the next movie is going to be about. The Terrifier trilogy has been a successful and has been gradually increasing and improving with each installment. The first Terrifier movie was a nod and homage to the 80s slasher movies, and it was also made for those fans who liked Art in the All Hallows Eve movie. It didn't really have a story and didn't really focus on characters or final girls that much, hardly anything. It focused more on the violence, more on Art and all his antics. When it came to visuals, the first movie was very dark, very gritty, very visceral, and had a very strong emphasis on the violence, the over-the-top violence. Especially it was the first one that had these hacksaw kills, so it was memorable because of that. When it comes to the second movie, Terrifier 2 was a longer movie. It is the longest movie of the three movies. It was more character driven, and it had a much larger, even more meaningful plot compared to the first one. Also, the violence was continuing to increase. It stayed the same, the violence, and it did have a kill. The bedroom kill, alley kill, was the most memorable kill in that movie, and it managed to overthrow the hacksaw kill. It was more polished, more balanced when it came to presentation. Terrifier 2 was also the first of the three movies to be released in theaters. It was successful. Now when it comes to the third movie is the most successful movie of the trilogy. It also is the one that I think a lot of people are saying to be the best one, and I do agree with that one. Also, when it comes to the story, the lore of the movies, the lore of the Terrifier has been expanded more, and the stakes in Terrifier 3 are much higher than in the second one. The violence in this movie and the kills are pushed to 11, and the boundaries, I feel like, were pushed a lot in the third movie. The murder of children was not seen in the first two movies. They are actually, they do happen in the third movie, the murders of children, but we never see them. So there are definitely some boundaries that were pushed in the second movie, in this third movie also. When it comes to the visuals, the third movie is the best looking of the three movies, is the best looking, had the best effects, and I'd say probably the third movie, and overall, is probably the best. If I had to rank the Terrifier movies, the first three movies, I'd probably say, at number 3, I'd probably say the original. At number 2, obviously the second one. So for me, personally, I think that the Terrifier 3, this is the current release, Terrifier 3, is the best of the three trilogy. And this movie has definitely improved with each movie, mainly because of the audience. So in conclusion, Terrifier 3 is the bloodiest, the most violent, and the most successful Terrifier movie so far, even becoming the #1 movie in the world. So this is a very, very big deal for an independent guy like Damien Leone to manage to have full control of this franchise. to have his vision become a reality, and to have an unrated movie become the #1 movie in the world is historic, is something great, and it's probably going to be a game changer. If these movies continue to make headlines and continue to make box office, no doubt that we're going to see a revival, a possible revival of the slasher genre thanks to Terrifier. This franchise, Terrifier, has potential to even become the Halloween of this generation.